Hi, everybody. I couldn't get the CSU Global Zoom account to work. It didn't want to record, and so I wanted to create a recording so everybody would have access to it. So I've created my own Zoom account, and we'll see how that goes. And so welcome to ISM 521. This course is on Enterprise Research Planning, ERP. And too often we throw around terms like ERP or CRM or SCM, and we assume that everybody knows what we're talking about. We assume that we know what we're talking about. And that's not always the case. And so I'm big on definitions, and you'll find that out as we kind of go through this presentation. But I want to welcome you. I look forward to learning with you. I've been doing IT and enterprise applications for a lot of years. When I started out, I was doing programming using punch cards. And so we'd go to the student center and write code. And when somebody got to go to the restroom or have a drink of water, we would take their cards and shuffle. And it would take them forever to get things back in order. So I've been doing this since the dawn of time. And so I have a pretty good understanding of at least what the applications are, hopefully how we want to use those applications, what we can take into account as we're creating, implementing, planning for targeting different applications. And some of you have sent me emails regarding my knowledge on cloud computing. I am a big biased proponent of cloud computing. So that bias will probably come out throughout the course as I start to say, well, how would you do this in the cloud? How would you secure this in the cloud? Would be the total cost of ownership in the cloud. And so ERP is a great application for the cloud. We can bring in modules as we need. We can bring in modules as we afford them. And so let's go ahead and just get started. And so as we think about this course, we've got some assignments, we've got some discussion threads. We're going to be doing some research. We're going to be doing some references. What am I interested in? I want you to be active in the discussion threads. And so I realized that the minimum wasn't the minimum. It wouldn't be the minimum. But I'd like to see you in the threads. I'd like to see your thoughts. I'd like to see you be right. I'd like to see you be wrong, because we learn from both. And so I like definitions. And so don't just start a thread with a good CRM project, because you'll lose a lot of your readers, you'll lose a lot of your audience, you'll lose people you're speaking to, you'll lose the C-suite by throwing out an acronym like CRM without defining it first. Don't do that with me. It's one of my pet peeves. So use definitions. Get a good definition for supply chain management. Get a good definition for ERP. And use those, and it will be amazing how your understanding, my understanding, the people who read your discussion posts understanding will improve. And so within your assignments, use the definition, set the stage. Tell me about the company. Tell me about what your goals are. Tell me about, assume you're trying to sell it to the C-suite. So we want to do ERP. We want to bring in a new customer relationship management tool. Why? What's the cost? What's the benefit? What's your SWOT analysis? So set the stage as you're starting to bring solutions forward. And assume that you're talking to the executive level. Everybody here is moving up in their career path. That's why you're here. And so pretend that you're talking to them, because it's going to be good rehearsal, because you will be talking to them. And they're going to ask you questions. What's the return on investment? What's our competitive analysis? What's our competitive advantage? What's the SWOT? Have you done an ROI? Tell me about those things. So as you're doing your discussion threads, as you're doing your assignments, keep those things in mind. So the week one discussions has the introductions. I'll be in to meet each and every one of you. I posted a virtual welcome that should let you know a little bit more about me. And then your second one is to examine a IS environment of your employer or a firm that you are familiar with. And so you can start to get understanding of that firm and understand, do silos exist? And why do the silos exist? And what can we do about the silos? And are the systems in the facility integrated? Now, it might be a large facility. It might be spread out globally. And so what does it mean to have integrated systems? They might have new systems. They might have old systems, legacy systems. They might have cloud systems. They might have a variety of systems. Give us a big picture. And so when we talk about siloed systems, it happens a lot. And you don't have to be a big company to be siloed. I was doing work with a small company, and they were as siloed as could be. Everybody defended one's own turf and wouldn't tell anybody about anything. In a bigger company, when you have silos, one of the first symptoms you'll see is Everybody will come to a meeting with an Excel spreadsheet. It's supposed to be the same data. We're talking about customers, or we're talking about cost or P&L. And everybody's got a different spreadsheet, but it's supposed to be the same data. And typically the person who has the right spreadsheet is the person who's the loudest and most aggressive. And so if they shout, if they put everybody down, their spreadsheet wins. But it's a great symptom of a silo. And we shouldn't be doing that. Instead, we should have a data warehouse. Everybody should be using the same data. We shouldn't have 4 different visions of things. And so it's easy to find out when a company is siloed. And then if you start looking at CRM, you have sales, you have SCM, so you have logistics, you have shipping, you have management of product and inventory. We might look at HR, we might look at financial tools. So we've got all of our divisions. Are they currently working together? Are they currently exchanging information? Are they currently as effective as they could be? If not, might be a symptom of silos. So start to research the company, start to find the good and the bad. And it's not bad if you find bad, it's just something that's an opportunity that we're gonna be able to fix. And that's always a good thing for careers as well as the company. So your week 1 assignment, you've got 2 options. And so your first option is to select an ERP. To select an enterprise resource planning tool, a software vendor, through an internet search. There's a boatload of them, and we're going to look at a whole list of them. And you might get information from journals. I'm not a huge fan of using academic journals for an article. It's supposed to be contemporary and current. It could get you some good research on what are the key benefits, what are the best practices. But if you want to tell me about what's going on today, I don't want to look at a 3-year-old journal. And so I said 3-year-old. I get papers where people are citing 15-year-old articles. In an IT course, that's ridiculous. And so give me something current. I would rather have bad information that's current that shows me that you're researching at least how do you do it in the real world. And then use the journals to back up your arguments. And so take a look at where the company's doing, where they're offering in terms of an ERP product. I'm big on, don't just tell me I'm buying an ERP product or I'm going to deploy one to the cloud. Tell me what that means. We're going to get the SCM component. What's that mean? We're going to get the HR component. What's that mean? We're going to have self-service. What's that mean? We're going to have CRM. What's that mean? We're going to have financial accounting tools. We're going to have payroll. We're going to have billing. We're going to have self-service. And so don't just throw out terms. Throw out an understanding. So your paper should be 2 to 3 pages in length. You should have references, recent references, and you should it should conform to all the writing standards and things. I think that that's typical. You want to be moving up through your career path. You need to be able to write well. The documents that you produce in the office should look a lot like the documents you produce for this course. And that means I don't mind seeing references in the document that an employee gives me. It means they've thought about it. It means they're concerned about it. It means they maybe didn't understand something and they went and understood it. That's all great. So what am I looking for in this option? I want to see a solid definition of ERP. Don't use the acronym until you define it. That bothers me. But give me a good definition. And so within that, you're going to have to tell me what the components that are common to ERP systems are. HR, finance, CRM, SCM. Define those. Tell me what the advantages of those are. Take a little bit of extra typing, a paragraph or 2, to get this so anybody can understand. Then talk about the size of the ERP market. How big is this thing? If you walk by the Bay Area or fly by the Bay Area, all you see is Workday corporate offices. And so ERP, HR, you got Salesforce in the CRM realm. You've got a lot of tools. You've got Oracle. There is a huge marketplace. So tell me about your vendor. Tell me about its market position. Tell me about its strengths, its weaknesses. And then my cloud biases is going to start to jump in. Are you going to house this in your data center? Are you going to put it in the cloud? Are you going to let the vendor house it? Tell me why. When you introduce your vendor, tell me their background. Tell me their financials. Tell me who's using them. Tell me the things that you would tell me if I was the CIO and you're bringing me this operation, or as the CEO and you're trying to sell it for the CIO. So sell the idea. Why do we need an ERP? What's our benefits? What's our total cost of ownership? What's our return on investment? What's our SWOT? And I guess I misspelled SWOT there. I was thinking about the new TV show. But what's our SWOT analysis? Your second option is to create a PowerPoint. And if you create a PowerPoint, I still expect to see references and things that are academic in thought. But you're going to do something similar. You're going to select an ERP software product for your employee's firm or a firm that you're familiar with. You're going to describe how they're using it, what modules are they using, what components, what are the strengths and weaknesses of it, how does it deal with legacy data, is it in the cloud, how do you secure it? So there's lots to talk about. And so you need to nail this down in 6 to 8 slides. I don't care if you give me 8 to 12 slides, just make sure they're meaningful. At the end, give me references because this is academic work and I want to make sure that you have researched what you're selling me. So again, what am I looking for? Definitions. Do not overpower a PowerPoint slide with just text. You'll lose your audience. So give me good text with good bullets, a clean looking slide with good definitions or explain definitions in the speaker's notes. Tell me about the common components again. Tell me about the size of the market. How does your vendor comply? Who's using it? So if a competitor is using it, it catches my attention. If a big company is using it, it catches my attention. So again, you're going to sell the idea. And so we'll normally each week do one of these Zooms to try and get the week in my mind and get the week in your mind. So we're both on the same mindset. Hopefully we'll be able to do it within the CSU Global Zoom, but if not, I'm going to post a lecture just like this one. And so have a great week. I look forward to seeing you in the threads. I look forward to reading your definitions. I look forward to your explanations. And so keep it simple. I'm a pretty simple person. And so explain what you're thinking about, sell it to me. And so I will see you in the threads. Have a fantastic week.